Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is time to dive into our second knockout match here for the APAC region to see who is going to be going and facing up against the North American teams. I am Achilles, joined by Avril as per usual. But before we even dive into this first series, Avril, what a start of the night here. An incredible series played by the Fusion, by the Shanghai Dragons, going the distance. I mean, the inverse toilet bowl, as I like to call it.
So, what even is that then? It's just, I guess it's just a Super Bowl. How do you follow up something like that? What an insane game. 6 maps and right down to the wire as well. That last time back that we saw between Fusion and the Dragons. I mean, multiple points. It could have gone either way. Massive plays from everybody on both teams there. But congratulations to the Shanghai Dragons for, what is, I think, winning in the most impressive series of APAC in the... Overwatch in the APAC region, I should say, so far that we've seen. And I say we've seen yet because maybe Seoul Chengdu could do something here as well. But again, it's going to be hard to top that last match that we just saw.
It really is, but maybe they can get it done. I mean, you never know what's going to happen when you have the Seoul Dynasty coming in, and then you add the Chengdu Hunters on top of it. Things could get incredibly wild throughout the duration of this. So you guys want to make sure that, if you got some friends who are napping right now, wake them up. Get them on the stream. Make sure that they're watching this because you don't want to miss it live. You also don't want to miss out on your Overwatch League perks by T-Mobile. So make sure you also have your account connected so you can reap all of those goodies while you get entertained by some wild gameplay, because that's what I'm anticipating here. We know that, typically, you always go over the, talking about the Seoul Dynasty as a bit of a roller coaster, particularly in the past. They look a bit more stable this year. But Chengdu, today, as we're getting into it, they're going to be mixing things up a considerable amount at the start. Here's the bracket, though. It's pretty straightforward, I think, as we only have the 2 series today. But Shanghai, they do advance forward into the May Melee tournament. It's all about who is going to be going alongside them.
Exactly, and the most important thing that happened over the past weekend that we did see as well is not only did Shanghai make 4th here, but they actually qualified through the 4th seed. We look towards Chengdu and Seoul. Seoul managed to clinch that 2nd seed away from Chengdu as well, so I'm sure they'll get some added benefit there. For Chengdu to kind of just lose that 2nd seed to Seoul, as Seoul got the last 3-0 versus the LA Valiant. We'll have to remember that Chengdu actually lost the map to the LA Valiant, so I think that actually it will make a difference. Like, that could have been it, like Chengdu only lost out of the seeding, I believe, by only the 1 point. Yeah, they did. It was a +6 versus a +7, so that one map loss to LA Valiant that Chengdu suffered earlier in the stage definitely comes back to bite them at least slightly. But, they'll still be playing up against each other. Let's go ahead and take a look at, in terms of power rankings, IBM, Watson, Jinmu, Leave, damage players across the board. We've already seen a lot of Happy, Rascal, Carpe. Jinmu and Leave are still very high in here. You guys have to remember, at one stage, Jinmu was the highest rated player from IBM Watson power rankings. And that was through Chengdu Hunters winning really, really hard in that first week. That 3-0 they got over Shanghai Dragons, which people still remember. And that's probably the one match that people kind of lost faith in Shanghai Dragons from. That was Chengdu delivering that win over, delivering the loss over to Shanghai. And from that, I guess Jinmu and Lee, but specifically Jinmu, have been able to just keep their rankings really high.
Yeah, I mean, it's been phenomenal for them. I mean, you especially have been touting Leave as, one of the most, silent carries in quotations, at least, coming into this season. But he's made a very explosive entrance. This is going to be the starting 6, however, for the Chengdu Hunters. And it's a very, very different look compared to what we're normally seeing. Sure, you got Leave, you got Jimmy there. Often we'll see Jinmu at the start, but we get to see Among now for the first time. Else is coming in alongside him. Then you've got Faraway, as well as Yveltal making his return.
Well, you don't get to see Among yet. He's still, coming about to land in the scene pretty short some stage. But I'm really trying to rack my brain around what this lineup means, because you look at the squad, and typically you're thinking, well, Chengdu normally start with Leave and Jinmu. Gaga's been playing phenomenally. There's Among now gracing your screen. You have Monk, who's been really, really good. You have Nisha, that's been, I think, a surprise fan favorite, especially on that Mercy. And now they're going to swap out 3 of the members of their starting lineup. I would even argue 4, because again, Jinmu normally comes in the first map. Jimmy doesn't come until a little bit later on, so like 4 different players coming in for that opening map for Chengdu, which is not something they usually do.
Yeah, no, not at all. This is a huge departure from what we have seen so far from the Chengdu Hunters that, it has instilled so much confidence in this roster. I would say kind of for the first time as far as being, a consistently good-looking team. But this is some wild changes, so you get kind of a head scratcher. You have to wonder what has been going on behind the scenes, what has been happening in the scrims for them to make such a stark change in the most important match of the season thus far for the Hunters. Obviously, it's something that they have a lot of confidence in, otherwise they wouldn't be doing it. They're not fools. So we just kind of have to sit back and get taken along this potentially wild ride that Hunters want to bring us along for. So I'm anticipating some pretty crazy plays, some pretty down and dirty stuff that's going to be happening, you know, from these guys. Among, you know, is he going to be on the wrecking ball the entire time? Is this going to be another shift? Do we get to see him on something like the Reinhardt, perhaps? I don't know. What I do know is that the Seoul Dynasty aren't doing the inverse. They are keeping things exactly the same. Not going to be making any overarching changes at all. We're still not seeing any adjustments to any of the roles.
And the only sort of change that Seoul have made recently is they've been moving Gesture and Marvel around, giving some more playtime over towards Marvel on that main tank. You're not going to see Marvel coming in on Flex tank this year, probably, we hope anyway. So Marvel has been playing, he came in for what? He came in for mainly Ryan, played a little bit of ball as well in Lijiang Tower. I was maybe theorizing that, you know, the opening map would say that we're playing a lot of Brawl. Maybe Chengdu want to put Aimang onto the Rhine. Maybe that's his new role now, because we're trying to figure out when would you play Aimang over Gaga, if at all, because it seemed like Gaga was going to permabench Aimang. And then you're looking towards Gesture and Marvel, you think, when would you probably play Marvel? And, well, the answer has been you play Marvel when you kind of want to play the Rhine for the team for Seoul. But we don't have Marvel in, but you do have Aimang in. So you haven't really answered exactly what Chengdu's game plan is, whereas Seoul's pretty clear. Like you said, it's their stock standard here. They also got Sabielby on the bench, but probably unlikely to be seeing Sabielby just yet. Prof and Fitz have been performing more than adequately. So as far as Seoul goes, it's standard stuff. It's Chengdu that all the questions raised around, because honestly, this is kind of uncharted territory.
It really is. I mean, there's a lot of questions, and we just have to wait until we get into the game to really have those answers come through. But I'm really excited to see what Chengdu do have prepared and whether or not it's going to work, whether or not Seoul Dynasty are going to be prepared for this, because obviously they can start sussing things out as soon as they get the confirmed roster from the other side. They can take a look at what maps they're going to be playing on and then say, okay, this is what we're anticipating. But the question then becomes, do they have the right read, and are they adequately equipped to actually be able to deal with it? We'll find out in due time, because we're getting ready to jump into our first map. We'll be getting that map selection up on your screen in just a moment to see where we will be heading first for Control, and it will in fact be Busan. After that, obviously everything going to be determined by the map loser, and we will figure out you know, who that is going to be in just a little bit. So let's go ahead, dive into Busan. I believe we have Sanctuary coming up first. Let's see who will draw first blood in this set.
And here it is, match 2 of our regional knockouts coming up. First map, Busan Sanctuary, expecting Sigma to come through. That's what 2U's going to be playing right now. Gesture starting on the ball as well. Aimang ball, of course. It's Aimang. He's got to be playing the ball. And we do expect the Ash gameplay, which is why Jimmy's here straight away on map number 1. Starting to answer a few questions. If you're wondering what faraway his kind of hero pool has been when he played in Gauntlet, when he played in Team CC4, you know, China's contenders, Zen was that one pick for him. So I think across the board, Chengdu are going to be testing out this kind of almost different lineup. Maybe it could work for them.
Well, we shall see. Inching up towards each other along this left-hand side from Seoul's perspective. Now they'll push back away from the drum. It's far away, just taking a couple shots here with the right click. Throws out a Discord Orb onto Fitz. A little bit of follow-up damage that's fine, Tim. Slowly getting topped up, but Creative, he will find the first kill as Leave gets taken out. Fitz, however, does get exchanged. But far away falling. Profit getting into the back line. It's going to be a very nice opening, and it seems like Seoul Dynasty should be able to quite handedly take this first cap.
It didn't take too long for the opening frag to come on through, and importantly here as well, just kind of noticing the differences in the composition. It's just going to be the Sigma, and looking over towards Zarya as well. There it is, Elsa's going to swap on over. It's a lot more meta for this particular submap for teams to be playing over towards the Sigma. I was thinking maybe looking at Chengdu's comp, they're going to be looking to pocket Aimang a bit more. They need those really good engages, but Sigma's going to hold space much better. The overall damage output, not having to wait to charge up energy. That's what the gameplay we're going to be looking forward to is. 2U's not that far ahead in the flux either, so Elsa can definitely still catch up.
Yeah. Just spreading around the opposite side of the map at the moment. Aimang to get a ton of damage up front. Starting to inch his way over to the point. Instantly gets put in his place. Creative.
Another opening.
Finds Farway. Second kill now for Creative. Popping up here quite regularly. Nebeldolt will manage to get the res off, as he often does. Sky is the king of sneaking in. Get these reses back. Profit down. There's a decent amount of little wiggle room here for the side of the Chengdu Hunters. Jimmy getting jumped on. Pile driver comes in. Jester does manage to find a finish, but it's going to be at the cost of 2U in the meantime. And Leaf with a pulse bomb manages to find a Namo. Good eat. Profit loses the pulse bomb. Yeah, Elsa taking that one away. The kinetic grasp, very nicely done. Transcendent's going to be popped by Jester. They're looking to stay in onto the point, but Profit over on the side gets headshot by Faraway. A good kill for him. Answered back as the Tracers get traded out, but Jester does fall, and it seems like Chengdu may finally be able to get themselves onto the point as the res comes in on the lead. Bob's going to be contesting for now. Fitz throwing that one down onto the point with the help of the Discord Orb. Everybody can focus fire, get the kill onto that. Chengdu still have yet to get this flip going through. 75% now accrued here for the Seoul Dynasty as Jester reapproaches. Goes in, drops down with that pile driver. Rally rolling from Anamo. Flux nearly online for 2U. Jimmy's gone. Flux now coming out, catches 2, pulls him up into the air. Elsa gonna be slammed back down. The kill comes through. Minefield does happen to find Profit, but the fight still going, and Seoul Dynasty still in control.
And Seoul Dynasty had somebody else to play with it. Above 90% now, losing Animo, it's okay. 5v6, they've started to actually run out of ultimates. Can they get a counter frag that would keep Seoul in the game? And Seoul just had so much staying power. There it is, that's what I'm talking about, the staying power. They get 2 more picks, and Seoul can get this now.
Bomb now going to be used by Jimmy just to keep this point contested. The cap will actually come through, so Chengdu start getting on the board, but do we see a fast turnaround? Seems like maybe not, as Jester does fall in the back end of the fight. Also finding that kill and Leave building up for nearly another pulse bomb. Sees that the kinetic grasp has been used, but with Profit taking down Yveltal, maybe we do just see Seoul Dynasty storm back over onto the point. Faraway finds yet another kill. For now, Chengdu holding control, but only at 20%. Flux coming in, Elsa pushing him back down to the ground. The pulse bomb is there from Leave. The Wombo combo comes up with 2, and that is going to be the Hunters maintaining control.
4 final blows for Creative so far. He's definitely been fragging. I mean, Faraway certainly caught up. And Leave is going to be the instigator to remain for Chengdu to have control of this cap. That's what they had otherwise as well in that last fight, which went for so long. I feel like it started around, what, Seoul having 70%, maybe even less than that, and just trading ultimates back and forth. Chengdu were trying to be a little bit more frugal with their ultimates. They wanted to force more out of Seoul, didn't want to respond with any, and Seoul gets over 90%, they get the 99, and Creative gets another opening pick. There's 6 opening kills that enable the 6v5s for Seoul.
And that's going to be a double kill for Profit. Flux not required, just finds Elsa and Jimmy chilling in the corner next to each other there on the staircase. Takes them out, and this is looking like a flip now. Potentially the end of the round for Seoul Dynasty. Bob just being sent in from Fitz to try and delay anybody from getting over to the point in case he gets a knock-up. In the meantime, does find Among, their best option to try to get the touch. Does not happen. 161%. Seoul Dynasty looking good here at the start.
Honestly, a really big performance from Creative there. I know that Profit ends up finishing things off with a double stick. Leave had a couple of those earlier as well, but Creative, how many opening frags is he going to get on the Zen? Because so many fights begin with Creative enabling a 6v5 for Seoul, and it just goes on from there. It's not like Faraway isn't also getting kills. Like I said, the actual final blows are up there. It's Creative on 6, Faraway's on 4 final blows, but the impact of the kills that actually come on in is that Creative gets them early, and Faraway doesn't get them until a little bit later on. So really good stuff coming through for Seoul so far. Not bad for Chengdu to be able to make the flips happen, but the neutral goes the way of Seoul, and there it is. It was a Flux into the double kill for the pulse bomb. And I think Profit's one was he just stuck it onto somebody.
He just got it naturally. Just threw the stick.
He got it the hard way.
Yeah, found Elsa, and Jimmy was cuddling up to him, saying, "Please protect me." There's nothing that could be done. Again, just going to be seeing the same comps coming through. And Amo going to be the first one to fall, though, as Faraway finds an opening kill. Fitz going to get rolled over. And this is just going to be a very one-sided fight, as only Gesture and Creative are left alive here at the moment. Creative will find Jimmy, out-sniping him at range, it would seem. Let's get that headshot, but Chengdu Hunters get the first cap.
Not a bad response kill from Creative, but it's going to be Faraway that picks up the opening now, and with that, the neutral as well. That's really important for Chengdu, considering how Sanctuary kind of went. The team's now running the Zari. Instead, there's a potential for Diva to be quite good on this map as well, but it will be the Zari gameplay. Fitz taking a ton of damage. Amon struggling to follow up here. He's actually been stunned up.
They can get the match, but they cannot get the kill. Also, in the meantime, just looking to hold down the point. Keeping Profit honest. Spotting him around the back. Trying to get the elimination here on the enemy Tracer, but Profit's just a little bit too elusive. Leaf now starting to track him as well, as both of these Tracers nearly have their pulse bomb. Transcendence, yeah, does come out from far away, popping that one off the bat. Fitz does fall, so it seems like maybe the Hunters should be good to try to hold this, especially with Anamo falling. Follow-up Dynamite there will finish off Creative, and with no tanks, no supports, that will just be the hold coming in. So nearly at 50% now, with a couple ults on the way and also online. So this is looking pretty good now for the Hunters in reply.
And this is, I mean, Faraway's definitely starting to perform quite well now. This is his best hero by far. This is what we saw in Gauntlet on Team CC when Faraway was champion. And the Zen stats are certainly coming up. He got that very early Transcendence. Creative doesn't quite have one yet. Opening kills as well going the way of Chengdu. Can they maybe get another opening frags to open up the 6-5? Prophet looking for something. There it is, a stick onto Yveltal.
And he's still alive. He's got 6 HP. He's not getting any healing. He's trying to get over to Creative right now because he does have that Transcendence rolling. Will eventually get topped up, and they clear out the Hunters. Really well done there by Prophet. Had previously gotten shield bashed just moments before we snapped onto his POV. Knew that it was off cooldown, goes in, gets the stick, takes Yveltal out of the fight before he can get the rally online. Now there can be a rally v rally for these grab fights.
Just confirming the the healing as well coming through from the trance. He won't hang out Creative. It's not going to have it versus Elsa, who is about to have this grab, and that needs to be known for Chengdu. They probably see that as an opening for this next fight. So Anamo's going to have to be looking towards an early rally, probably pre-rallying this fairly soon, I'd say in the next 10 seconds. Bombs online as well, will get pumped in. Two's down though, 99%.
Yeah, it does fall before we can get the grab online. The rally still rolling from an Amon. Prophet finds Jimmy. Part 2, the only casualty, unless you count the Bob as well. Spot out Prophet, gesture around the back over towards the Hunter spawn. He's trying to get out safely. Monk goes in for a pile driver there on the high ground, takes Prophet a little bit low. He's got that pulse bomb and he wants to get it on top of that Wrecking Bolt, but he's unable to do so. Now instead, we'll turn his sights over onto Elsa, the bubble expiring, throws it down onto the ground. The grab comes in on top of him. Leaf is going to be the one who comes up with the kill, and Amo and Fitz both going to be taken down. The stick from Leave. Prophet only able to follow up on Jimmy, and it's only 45% established here on downtown for Seoul Dynasty as the Hunters retake the point.
And both traces pulse it, but it goes the way of Leave. Obviously, you talked about the grab as well. Now, Transcendence online for Creative, but that's all they got to work with. They got to touch very early. They can certainly brawl this one through with the extra healing. No other ultimates to speak of just yet. Among should be able to close this one out soon with an extra kill into Prophet. I mean, 6v5, this is already going badly for Seoul.
Yeah, Gesture getting chewed apart as well. Help with those Discord orbs. Transcendence comes out. Obviously, no antis. Fitz dead as he tries to reapproach. Elsa finding the kill. Minefield now coming down, trying to zone them off the point. OT starting to bleed away. Gesture goes into the back, finds the kill onto Faraway, but it is the Chengdu Hunters closing this one out. Even more one-sided than the first round, 145, as they will take us to Mecha Base.
And that was only, by the way, Seoul getting that 45 from Prophet, opening up the fight with that Pulse Bomb stick. And then they used the Transcendence as well, just to confirm it. So Seoul had that one very successful fight and a decent attempt at a follow-up to finish things off, but honestly, Faraway got a lot of opening frags there. I feel like it's almost a story of two Zens here, where you look towards Sanctuary, it was Creative getting all those first picks. Now you flip the script, it's Faraway 1987 finding those first picks instead, and the Zenyatta battle might not continue for much longer as we hit the Mecha Base. And in true Chengdu Hunters fashion, they're not going to be going towards the Brawl. And I think Seoul know this well. I think if you're Seoul, you probably believe that Chengdu won't play Brawl. You're not going to play your own Brawl. And both teams will be shaking their hands saying, you know what? It'll be dive on both sides.
All right, well, Fitz going straight in for the Sombra. Have eyes on these Zenyatas, or just on the one, I should say now. That we do see Creative shifting over onto the Ana. Dynamite going forward, they're looking for Prophet, they take him low. Does manage to recall, get himself top back up, just continues to pressure the back line here. Faraway actually moving over towards him, he's trying to weave in some of these orbs, get that hit, but can't quite make it happen. Still, considerable amount of damage comes in, and without the recall available, Among finds the kill. There's the opener now for the Chengdu Hunters, they have the first cap on the point. Jimmy set up very nicely. And just take down an Ammo, he turns his sights back over. You can see him retreating, trying to make his way back around the point over towards their spawn, but this is just going to be a slaughter. They need to reset. Chengdu Hunters looking good off the bat yet again. This is a worrying prospect for Seoul.
I was thinking that Yveltal probably needs to go over towards the Brig because the Mercy's end of the back line is going to be fed up upon by the fact that Fitz and Prophet have double flankers going on. That's really rough for especially Yveltal, or especially for Faraway, I should say. So you definitely need a little bit more opportunity to punish Gesture, but also onto Prophet and Fitz because that's where the stuns do have to start landing. So we'll see how much further we can get with this. Nano's almost available. Creative's been waiting for that for a while.
I didn't exactly see why, but Tuyu actually swaps for a moment. Moves off the Zarya, and then goes back over to it, thinking better of whatever his decision is going to be. So now he just wastes all of the ult charts that he had accrued. That's potentially going to be very costly in the long term.
Yeah, I don't see any good reason for that. It's not like he's playing D.Va and needs to reset the mech. You've got no reason to be resetting that. Could have been you know, a bad call from the team. Could have been a number of things. It could be now that Fitz gets his opening kill to Jimmy, so it doesn't really matter. Gesture will have the nano into the Primal soon. They might even be able to save his EMP, which would be good.
Gesture knocked up into the ground, but Among does fall. But maybe there's going to be a pulse bomb in the back end to try to get rid of this Winston. It does not happen. Bionade out onto 2. Far away, knowing that he just has to save the Transcendence. They built up a decent amount. The flip had already come through. So holds on to that for the next fight versus Inamo's rally. But, I mean, looking back on it, just click back through, is 43% ult charge lost by 2U. He swapped to the D.Va for a moment, and then goes back to the Zarya. He would have had his grab by now. So we'll see if that is going to cost him in the long term here.
I mean, we'll see what the interaction between Faraway and 2U is as well. Does Faraway want to use the early Transcendence on tempo because he knows the grab won't be there just yet to just save it anyway? It's close enough that Faraway's been tracking correctly. He'll probably want to save it. Big Bionade. Big kill to Among as well. Yeah,
very nice Bionade. Transcendence, however, still going to be rolling in lead. He finds both, supports the Pulse Bomb. Are you joking? That cannot be allowed to happen if you're the Seoul Dynasty. Just with a sliver of HP, and there's nobody that can help him. Same here for Profit. Recalls back over towards the point, but they're just going to get hounded down. The flip is back in control of the Hunters. They're at 75%. It's only 43 gained here for Seoul Dynasty. Everything is going to be on the back of this nano, this grab.
And I gotta say, you know, that was Seoul's opportunity to turn things around. The grab was finally coming online. Transfer's burned by Faraway anyway. But Lee just completely shuts the door. Profit, it's your turn. Profit has the pulse available. He's had big kills before. He's got to do that again. Grab pulse is going to be the combo.
Has to be. They're trying to track this out. Gravity, Elsa, he noms that one up. But Gesture is already out of the fight. Fitz so very low, trying to stay alive, trying desperately to get the EMP online, but he's still 27% away. Now Anamo is going to go down. Nano out on the 2U as he looks for some kills. Pops the bubble. He's 100 energy rather. They do have to respect him, but he's just unsustainable. They cannot keep him alive. The pulse bomb will finish off Gesture. The delay tactics are gone. Profit, the only one that could touch, but he's still nowhere nearby. And the Chengdu Hunters, after a little bit of a rocky start, will be able to close out Busan 2-1.
Speaking of twos, man, 2U. He deleted the grab. He gets a grab finally. Yeets it straight into Elsa's defensive matrix. You saw he's just staring into Elsa as well. He's trying to time the defensive matrix there. Finds an opening, but you have like a 1 second window. You have a very short window to get the grab in there. Pops it in, instantly deleted, and that's unfortunately going to be map taken away. But also, you got to give credit to Leave with the double pulse bombs coming in, far away, finding some opening frags as well. Chengdu Hunters fixing the composition on Mega Base by switching Yveltal from the Mercy over towards a Brig. That was a right call to make, and you know, Among even showing his chops on the ball as well, just to get some opening frags.
Well, Faraway giving a thumbs up there to the camera for a brief moment. We'll see if this is still going to be the roster continuing forward. It'd be really, you know, it'd be really shocking if they just kind of roll with it. I'm curious if this is just for control or if they just say, you know what, this is the roster that we want to run for the entirety of this series. We're going to find out. We're going to get those answers when we come back from the break, so don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. The action continues in just a few minutes.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. And by Indeed, we help people get jobs. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Coca-Cola. the official refreshment of the Overwatch League. And by IBM, the official cloud and AI partner of the Overwatch League.
Alrighty, welcome back. Man, already an exciting start to the series as we go 2-1 for the Chengdu Hunters on Busan. They're able to take it away, and, this surprising roster with a bunch of players who we have not seen yet play this year, they come out, and it's a little bit of a slow start on the first round of Sanctuary. Seoul's able to take that, but from the next 2 rounds onward, Chengdu very much were in the driver's seat.
Absolutely, and there's a couple of really great plays that we saw as well, especially from Leave. You mentioned it has been kind of this, I don't know if you could say that Leave is underrated, but he's never really shown up on people's big lists of like, hey, who's like a top-tier DPS? You don't normally see Leave on there, so maybe Leave this year, this stage, really makes a name for himself because that Tracer gameplay was certainly turning fights around big time for the Chengdu Hunters. Another player I wanted to point out is actually Elsa, who didn't get just that one big Graviton Surge eat from 2U, but also managed to eat a Pulse Bomb from Prophet, I believe, on Sanctuary with the Sigma as well, so great gameplay from Elsa overall. Then obviously both Zens had a lot of fragging between both teams.
Yeah, it was, just good adjustments, and everybody, who came in was playing absolutely wonderfully. Yveltal coming up with some of those clutch reses that he's so very well known for, and then knows as well when he needs to swap over to the Brigida. You were calling that out at the beginning of Mecha Base. He makes that very quick adjustment. They come back in, and then from there, they just proceed to absolutely slaughter the Seoul Dynasty. So it's a really rough start now that Seoul needs to bounce back from. We'll see where they're going to be taking us for our next map as we do get ready to go into Assault, and whether or not it's going to be good enough for them to net a map win to tie us up. We do have some substitutions being happening right there at the bottom of your screens. So Gaga will be coming back in over Among. We do see the return of Monk as well as Nisha.
So just going back to the standard Chengdu lineup here, which is, still fills me with a bunch of questions because I'm still right now looking at this where I'm thinking, Gaga could have just played the ball. Nisha could have just played, the Mercy there as well. Monk can definitely play his in. If nothing else, it does show me that Chengdu have a lot of roster depth that they can still find success on. I would have been more worried if they made these substitutions, Among and the fellas come in and they actually lose the map. That would be me thinking like, well, okay, Chengdu, what was the reason of you benching what was considered to be your, quote-unquote A team to bring in your 3-year sub players? It doesn't make a lot of sense. But after seeing them win that map, Among still performing decently. Faraway was, a pleasant surprise considering that behind the scenes, the word on the street was that Chengdu benched Faraway because Monk was just doing much better in scrims, or maybe that Faraway was performing poorly in scrims, and now it's getting a bit more play time, so kind of flexing the bench over, showing what they can do with their extra members, and honestly still look pretty good. So yeah, Seoul, not a great start there. Unfortunate gameplay coming through, especially on Mecha Base, I think we can agree on. But beyond that, Chengdu, honestly, pretty decent and very flexible.
Yeah, extremely. This is a very scary prospect now because they've shown that their B team, as people have been calling it, can still very much perform. They can get it done. It's a good look. So now you never really know what Chengdu is going to be throwing at you as you come into a different series. You and I were talking about it beforehand because we get to peek at the rosters a little bit early. So we knew what was happening for a while now, and we were kind of going back and forth. And I said, look, this either works really well, and it's going to be a one-sided map, or it's going to completely fall apart. Unfortunately for the side of the Chengdu Hunters, it was the former, so they look extremely good. Still going to be swapping it up. We're ready to get Gaga into the lobby so we can get underway for our next map, but this is a very scary situation. When you have a team that has a lot of depth, a lot of people that they can swap in and out of the roster, it makes it that much more harder to predict what they're going to do, what maps they're going to take you to, what style of play they're going to have, and then just to generally prepare for that as well. So this is a very scary-looking Chengdu Hunters. So Seoul Dynasty, with their map pick, hopefully they're strapped in. Hopefully they can get it done to try to tie us up because, granted, you and I, We've been kind of blessed. We've been getting some of the longer series. We had the NYXL one versus Hangzhou, or NYXL, but the Shanghai versus Hangzhou series that went to 5.
Yeah.
NCP, they finally got their really extended one, a fantastic series, in the first one here today. But I'm a greedy person. I want a 6-map series as well. So can we get a tie up after this?
Yeah, we're coming up to the cafeteria. I want what those guys just had. Can you serve us the same thing? You still got that on the menu, that 6-mapper?
Yeah.
To be honest, I was even pretty happy with the Chengdu 3-0 versus Shanghai because despite that being like a very fast game and a 3-0, that was actually a really interesting game. So, Fun fact for all you guys at home: have you been kind of tracking stats a little bit? You should know that Prophet's on his way to 5,000 frags currently, 5,000 final blows, I believe it is, and he's 13 kill, 15,
15 away.
15.
Production will whisper in our ears again. I'm sure.
13.
Oh, okay, 13 away. So
Count
you
them.
had it right. I did not. So 13 final blows away.
What I need Chad to do is you got to count down. So we're going to start from 13. When you see Prophet's name show up the kill feed, go 12 and just go down until we get to 0. I won't be counting, so I'll trust you guys because I don't know. I'm not going to be keeping count, but I assume by the end of this map he might actually have it.
I mean, he very well could, but I mean, have you ever tried to see a chat count to 10 before? I don't even know if they're going to be capable of this. So it might not be possible. And now you're asking to do it in reverse, counting backwards. That might be too much to ask.
Yeah, we call that a countdown. Call that a countdown.
We'll see if they can pull it off. I'll watch the VOD back later and pay attention to the chat in that moment to see if they actually got it right. But
I'm sure production will tell us when Prophet hits 0, when he hits 5,000. I think production will tell us he hit 5,000 because I'm not going to do any counting today. Not while the game's actually going to be happening. Or maybe I will. Maybe secretly I'll just be like, well, that's 12 now. 11 left to go. As
12.
Prophet, I don't think Prophet even knows. I don't even know if Prophet knows that he's only 13 away. I think he's focused on the game, knows what his job is, and the one map down here. One other thing I wanted to mention, by the way, when we're talking about Chengdu's versatility here in terms of their roster, we haven't even seen Jinmu yet. And this is a team that normally starts Jinmu. Jimmy doesn't come in until a little bit later on. Don't be confused. Jinmu and Jimmy are different people. They play different roles, vastly different roles, I might add. And so there's that version of Chengdu that's still yet to be played. So if Seoul were preparing for Chengdu, like, okay, Jinmu's going to play Farah, we're going to prep to beat Farah, well, they're not doing that right now. So Seoul's game plan has to change based on the fact that Jimmy's starting instead of Jinmu.
Yeah, I mean, it does make sense when you take a look, at Busan. You're not going to have as much of a skybox to work with, especially when you move over to Mecha Base. So not bringing Jinmu in, it does make a good amount of sense. If I think that wholeheartedly, if we had Lijiang Tower or something like to that effect, we would almost certainly be seeing Jinmu at the start. But
possibly,
we'll see if the Seoul Dynasty are going to be prepped to play around this with Jimmy sticking in. We are at Hanamura now, and we'll see who is going to be able to take this one away. Seoul Dynasty going to be looking to dig deep. Like you said, Prophet likely just kind of shaking this out of his head. Doesn't want to be focusing on, I got to get 13 kills in this map right now. I need my milestone.
He gets 13, just disconnects. He's done.
Yeah, it's just, I'm done. All right, I retire. That's it. That's the end of it. But no, I mean, talking to pros about milestones like this in the past, across any esport realistically, like even if you look at, Faker, who's considered one of the best players in a game of all time, he's often surprised at the end when he gets told, like, oh yeah, you hit this milestone. And it's the same for Overwatch pros, StarCraft pros, etc. They don't really think about it. They get surprised at the end when somebody taps them on the shoulder. The coach comes and say, by the way, you got 5,000 final blows. And it's a nice little thing to walk away with.
Mr. 5K.
If you're focusing on that, then you're not focusing on the right things. And oftentimes, if you're not focusing on the right things, you're not going to get those 5,000 kills. So just a little cheat forward here.
It'd be weird if he doesn't get 13 final blows this map. I think that would be a little bit strange. But yeah, definitely going to be focused on the game here. I'm sure later on, Overwatch League will make a nice thing from the confetti will rain down. Arnold himself will come into the the gaming room and just throw it at him. Yellow and black confetti, gold and black, I should say. But opening comps here, it's going to be double shield coming through from Seoul's defense. It is bold as you'd expect for any team any lineup that Chengdu will want to run. Creative's already lost the Immortality Field though, so that's a pretty big cooldown gone.
Yeah, especially now that Leave is in the back line and they're already starting to tag here onto the point. Gaga joining in. Let's get worked down to about half HP. Leave still able to play forward. Jumping in, gets on to Fitz, but the healing comes through and Prophet hounds down Gaga. There's one of them. So go ahead, count away, chat. We'll be checking on you later to see if you got it. He's looking for another one, and he's going to have it. All right. 11 to go.
Oh, man.
And yeah, I think we're on pace to get into this map, as it turns out.
Yeah, they got the first two pretty quickly, and, we got a little bit more on the defense to go. 2 minutes 40 still remaining. I know, that's crazy, right? I mean, to be fair, Leave hasn't had a lot of time to build anything just yet. You haven't seen Chengdu Hunters really bust through the kind of gates, which they will need to do fairly quickly. It's not like Chengdu are going to be playing any Brawl. You might want to TP through, none of those kind of strategies. Among's going to go deep. I think Leave actually recalled there, so whatever position he had, he's lost that now.
All right, well, let's see if Prophet can trim down the number a little bit more with this Pulse Bomb. Fitz, however, does get rid of Jimmy. Shots coming out on the side. Rez comes through from Nisha. Good jump away from Fitz with the coach gun. Puts a little bit of distance in. Throws out the bomb. Now popping Gaga up into the air. And Prophet scoops the final blow. It's yet another one on the board for him. Pulse Bomb was used. Didn't find any value outside from some damage, it would seem. But still, a good start to this hold. Monk trying to get this Transcendence online. Just a few percentage off. He's going to need that to deal with the flux that 2U has built up.
Window's coming as well. That's going to be the more important ultimate. I think Creative can pop that almost any time. As soon as you sense that Chengdu is starting to move on in, here comes a Bob, and here comes the rest of ultimates. All three from Seoul being popped.
Yep, Flux goes out, Transcendence used in response. Leave the Pulse Bomb, manages to get rid of the Bongo as well as Creative follows up with some headshots in the gesture to get the finish. 2U dead. And with now 2 members left alive. Seoul are going to have to concede this point. Fitz just charging forward. Getting ready to go off the side of the map, but Monk will go ahead and give him a little bit of a shortcut. And that is going to be the first point cap coming in for the side of the Chengdu Hunters. Limited ults to work with for any kind of snowball effect. We'll see if they swap up the comp at all, but likely just going to be sticking through with this. They do have the Flux, they do have the Minefield.
Good play by Leave there as well to delete the Supercharger right away, and they get Chengdu past. The majority of ultimates coming through from the Seoul Dynasty. If you're keeping track right now, I know I said it wasn't going to be counting, but screw it. 10 left to go for Prophet. See if he can find that pretty soon. Nearly onto another Pulse Bomb. Bob nearly available for Fitz as well. So there's a lot of staying power here. I mean, between Rally and Bob and the Pulse Bomb should be enough for this fight to go the way of Prophet and the rest of Seoul, barring any major mistakes coming on through, which I don't see just yet.
Flux out on the point, only catches the Namo. The rally is rolling, so he stays alive, but Gesture in the meantime does get taken out. Is left out to dry, but the rest of the Seoul Dynasty up top. Pulse from Prophet, not going to be able to find a kill, and Monk will strike him down, ensuring that he has to go back into the spawn room. Now onto the point, halfway to that first tick. Chengdu Hunters, and they keep this going. Creative taken out. Gaga finds the kill onto the enemy Baptiste. Just rolls back down here onto the low ground. Discord Orb is still out onto him. He still wants to show a lot of respect here to the damage dealers. Monk is just out for blood. Gets the kill, pops the trance to keep everybody else alive. First tick is through. 2U does need that Flux, as you say, but he is going to die. Actually kills himself off with the Hyperspheres in the end, and that might just be the point. Prophet coming back through. Pulse Bomb out from Leaf. Dashes forward. Gets the melee hit onto Anamo to finish him off. Fitz comes back in. Rocket Punch does take down Monk. He'll get this health pack to try to get back into the fight now. Punch in. Nisha's dead, but nobody else is on the point for the side of Seoul Dynasty. So it's 2 minutes and 39 seconds locked in for the Chengdu Hunters.
What an insane attack as well. I mean, that felt really kind of slow and steady. You have Chengdu coming in. They're slowly finding picks one by one. They constantly add, I want to say, a 6v4 here. So 2 members from Seoul consistently dead. 2U doesn't end up getting that Flux. Creative finally has a window available, but dies. Doesn't get a chance to pop it. Leave still picking up frags. Pulse Bomb comes on through as well. Chengdu have ultimates to play with, and they don't lose members. They don't lose any players until Fitz comes back on a Doomfist, drops a couple of the Chengdu guys. But at that stage, Chengdu have pretty much capped. They've pretty much won that point. And look, you know, I think the game realizes Prophet has 10 kills left to go, and we've entered the Matrix.
Down. Yeah, it's okay, guys. We just have to re-spool this VHS tape real quick, and then we can have everything get cleared up. Seems like it's all starting to come together now. I can make out point B. There's a Dallas fuel spray there from Jimmy. And there we go. We're back. Somebody tripped over me.
Overwatch
It's all right.
80s or something. Some real wacky colors going on for a second.
I mean, who knows? If game graphics continue to get crazy, maybe that is what people are going to think the games look like in the future. You know, like when you think back at oh man, NES
That's
graphics, N64 graphics were so good, and then you go back and you look at them and like, oh my god, it looks tragic. Maybe in 2060, that's like the equivalent.
I thought Sombra's EMP would do that originally. It would just scramble your entire screen, just turn it into gibberish. But speaking of Sombra's,
maybe an experimental mode.
I think he did get detected. You see that Elsa's just beaming around everywhere. They couldn't quite find him. And Fitz actually gives up his positioning. That was just for scouting. I thought maybe you'd stick onto it because normally if you're a Sombra player, and Fitz is normally a Sombra player too, and you get that deep over towards the point, you can actually stay. Your opening hack target could be pretty big, and that would enable the dive, but it's got to be double bubble gameplay. And I don't know if they're going to be waiting too long to farm here. It does seem like Seoul might just want to rotate, but they are losing members for it.
Yeah, I mean, Bionet goes on to 2, but the bubble helps cleanse that off, and they just storm forward, sleep on a Gaga, but it's far too late. Prophet's the only one left alive, and it's a very good start to the defense here for Chengdu. Prophet well into the back over by the point, waiting for the rest of his team to respawn before he can start pressuring anybody.
That's good, because now you can see that Prophet can come through ideally onto, I think Monk would be the ideal target, Jimmy would be pretty good as well. Will be a decent amount of peel, has to make sure that Nisha's not too close by. So once they've selected their dive target, it should be Prophet and Gesture landing on the same person. Jimmy's going to just check if we can see Prophet. Prophet's revealed himself quite early, and they haven't quite landed together.
Pioneer toss forward, finds two. You eliminated, Nanamo going down as well. Prophet gets another one with a melee hit onto Nisha. But it's not going to be good enough to keep this push going forward. Gesture will find one, just trying to build up, get towards that Primal Rage as quickly as he can. Prophet, again, trying to find some solace, somewhere safe that he can go to near the back of this point. Hide out yet again. But he's actually stepping to leave right now.
I was going to say, respawns should be good for Seoul. They get the leave here, which means, you know, on top of the fact that I think Monk and Nisha died, yeah, they're already on the point. The respawns from Chengdu are quite far away. So even if Gesture and a couple more, you know, of the Seoul Dynasty team end up falling over, they have point priority. They've, in fact, pretty much capped it by now. It's just going to come down to Gaga, who's primal. Grav should be following through as well. Elsa and Gaga can definitely hold on here.
Gesture now going to be taking a nap as he pops the Primal Rage. Really good sleep dart coming in from Monk. Both Zaryas going to be traded out. As Leave finishes off to you. Still sitting up top here, looking for a target. Wants to drop down, but doesn't want to get shield bashed. Killed off by Anamo, so the point does get taken by the Seoul Dynasty. They've got a 2-minute window to cap if they want to have a superior or equal time bank to the side of the Chengdu Hunters. Ults still well on their way. Rally going to be the first one up. The grab still 30% off.
It's a worthy attempt from Chengdu, but it cost them 3 ultimates here, so that is going to definitely be you know, a heavy price to pay as far as the speed defense goes. They have to rely now on a Bob to hold fresh onto the cap itself, but if they get an open frag, Offer got quite low there, that would be the 6v5. That definitely stops the double cap from coming on through, and that's the biggest risk right now. It's the pressure of the double cap. And Seoul's only reason for still not kind of diving in is because, first of all, they want to build some rally armor. They need to get this Graviton Surge online. With Prophet actually dying now while they're waiting, this push might be kind of hampered.
Rally does roll. Fitz getting jumped on. They're trying to top him back up. Seems like they will be able to keep him in the fight for a little bit longer. But Tuyu absolutely destroyed by Elsa. Rita finds Jimmy. I mean, they go back and forth a little bit, but just given the defender spawn advantages, you'd expect this to still very much be in the hands of the Chengdu Hunters. Gesture continuing to play forward. Nanoboo's now out onto Elsa. Fitz with a Deadeye. It's slept, but woken up. Deadeye does finish off Monk. Pulse bomb from Prophet. Not going to be able to find anything. Anamo now going to be taken down, so the healing is more than cut in half. Tuyu, yeah, still on the run back as Jimmy finds 2 more kills, and this push invested, you know, quite heavily into this one. It's not going to net too much.
What a weird push from Seoul. Tuyu was dead. You don't have your Zarya, which means no bubble for Gesture, no grab. There's no real win condition here. Like, I could understand if Seoul were trying to force ultimates out of Chengdu, but Chengdu's got to be smarter than that. Yeah, okay, well, burn the rally, burn the nano. Nano can be built up again fairly quickly. The important ones are still there, though. Bob has not been used. Primal Rage and Graviton Surge from Elsa still kept in there. Grab Pulse is going to be available soon when Leave has his Pulse as well. So for Seoul to really be pushing hard while Tuyu's dead is definitely a bit of a head scratcher there. They'll be feeding extra ultimates as well. Now, Chengdu are heavily stocked up. And
Primal Rage has been used by Gesture. Yeah, and he's just trying to exit right now, get back over with the rest of the team, and resets. The Primal not getting too much value. Rejoins over there on the high ground. Now gets onto the awning above the point. Where, I mean, yeah, Jimmy's just going to be taking pot shots out of it. The bubble's not going to last too long. He needs reinforcements here from the rest of his team. Leaf gets in on top of him, and he's going to find the finish. Prophet in the meantime drains it out, making it a 1-for-1 as far as the Winstons are concerned. But obviously, it's going to be a much faster run back for Gaga. Graviton out from Elsa, will be taking a little bit of a nap, but damage is still done. Fitz is out of the fight. Seoul Dynasty, they're going to have to take another crack at this, but they're down below 2 minutes now.
Yeah, Leave actually ends up, you know, not connecting kills on the Pulse Bomb, but I don't think it matters at the end of the day. Grav was still good. Elsa even managed to get in the high ground with a right-click jump up, and, you know, he slept, but he slept on the high ground, so he's fine. We really need to see this Grav coming in through. The good news for Tuyu and Seoul is that Elsa can't eat this Grav, so there's no excuses. Tuyu just has to land it, has to be big. Prophet has a pulse as well, so I don't know what Prophet's kills are up to, but this is where he can get some more.
Pushing forward, Grab comes in. Solo here onto Elsa. They want to try to get rid of him. It doesn't have any energy to be reset, and the Nano Boost will help keep him alive. Now he counter pushes, finds Tuyu. Prophet comes up with yet another kill. But is it going to be good enough? Because, yeah, Anamo lost, so they might find one break. Prophet will find Gaga. He needs to do a lot more than that, and he's trying his damnedest. Jimmy now going to be taken down, but Gesture Nano boosted up, is taking a nap.
Big kill.
Up here onto the high ground. Manages to find Elsa. They're starting to tick up. The second one is nearly there. Jester's still alive, but getting chipped away at. He desperately needs some heals. No one is there to offer these up to him. So he does have to pull back. Prophet as well, going out with a recall. Leaf spots him. Fits down to the low ground, getting the headshot. But Seoul Dynasty, they need to get themselves on this point. They need to get the cap with time. Otherwise, they're going to be looking to play for a draw in OT. Dive into the back. Stick is there. Jimmy out of the fight. Prophet finds yet another one. He follows up for Gaga. Could this be it? Could he win it with the 5K kills? Monk now going to be gone. Seoul Dynasty all in on the play. Leave with a pole stick. Manages to find Anamo. 1-for-1 on the healers thus far, with Nietzsche still under fire. Does get finished off by Gesture, but Jimmy on the Widowmaker takes out Fitz. Prophet's in behind him. Gets the kill. Getting rid of the Widow.
Primal's coming.
They're just delaying this. They want to try to build this up, force them into OT. If not, just hold it. Gaga with the Primal, just cleaving to you into the corner. This is in for just a moment, but it's okay because Lean is there for the finish. Gesture trying to exit.
10 seconds.
To stay alive, but cannot do so. 8 seconds now remaining, and 89.4% might be as good as it gets for Seoul Dynasty. Chengdu Hunters, they play off of the point for here for a moment, trying to make sure that nobody can tag in. Prophet does manage to touch, but he gets finished off immediately thereafter. It's another nano boost here on to Gaga, and that will be the closeout. Chengdu Hunters successfully defend on Hanamura, and that is going to put them up 2-0 in this series. They are just one away from punching their ticket into the May Melee tournament.
That was really slow gameplay and kind of scrappy from Seoul as well. Like, even towards the end there, they don't want to reset. They feel like they've reset plenty of times with this big attack so far. So you have Fitz, you have Prophet that are still getting frags. Fitz, importantly, on that Ashe is picking up really important members. That one kill into Elsa starts snowballing into a potential maybe fight win for Seoul. The issue is Seoul will constantly down numbers, so it's not like Seoul come in with 6 and then they got the opening frag and they play a 6v5 or a 6v4 advantage. They're in like a 5 or 4vx kind of situation, playing up against huge respawn advantages from Chengdu. And despite the best efforts of Prophet and Fitz, who actually got a lot of kills there, to be fair, it just wasn't enough because they didn't have the staying power. They kept losing one of their supports. One of their tanks was always dead as well. And so unless Fitz and Prophet literally just kill all of Chengdu in a row where no one from Chengdu can contest anymore, they weren't going to cap, because you need one big reset there with a lot of ults coming in and big player advantage, and Seoul never really got that at the end.
No, they didn't. I mean, just looking a bit disjointed here. People getting picked off on the sides. And yeah, I mean, like you said, doing their damnedest, but it's not enough for Prophet to try to walk away with these kills. Fitz as well. I mean, a whiff on the Bob, I do believe, at the end. So some rough timings for the side of the Seoul Dynasty. They really need to gather together and try to right the ship, because they need to pull off a reverse sweep in order to punch their ticket into that May Melee tournament now. So backs up against the wall. Let's see if the pressure is going to be enough to surge them forward, or if they're going to crumble under it. We're going to find out when we come back to the third and potentially final map after this break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. And by Indeed. We help people get jobs. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Pringles. Stay in the game.
All right, welcome back. Well, despite the map pick advantage there for the Seoul Dynasty, I guess I say advantage. It's only because they lost the first map, so not really the position that you want to be in. But despite being able to choose the second map, they take us to Hanamura, and they don't even get to finish the map. Chengdu Hunters successfully hold them at B, only allowing them to get 89% on the point. And now it's backs against the wall. Time for a reverse sweep if the Seoul Dynasty want to carry on here in the May Melee and make it into the tournament.
And it's like, I'm trying to figure out, is it an individual member of Seoul? Is there something specifically going wrong here? And it just seems like it's a more team-wide issue. They were quite slow and decisive. There was that, that fight they took as well when Tuyu was dead, and they still went for it anyway. Like
Yeah.
maybe they were trying to bait out ultimates, but was just highly unsuccessful. It wastes Seoul's own time on the attack. It costs them ultimates as well. And it just doesn't, there's no fruit to be born from that. There's nothing. They don't get any benefit out of it. So Seoul had a very surprisingly, I would say, just dead attack where nothing really happened. They didn't make good, strong decisions and overstayed at multiple points. Fitz tried to really hold on there. Fitz had 13,000 damage overall, which is the most damage done by anybody by quite a fair margin. So, I mean, Fitz and Prophet tried really hard. And as an update as well, Prophet is down to just one kill. One more kill for the 5K.
Yeah, one more for that. But, I mean, yeah, getting that milestone is nice, but if you get that milestone in a losing series, especially on, a potential
consolation prize.
0-3 sweep, that is not going to feel super great. You're going to be like, okay, cool, I've done well over my career, but I still feel really bad about this series in particular. So we'll see. He wants to avoid having that bad taste in his mouth. We'll see if that can happen as we do get taken to Blizzard World. This is Seoul Dynasty's map pick, where they look to turn things around.
The irony here as well is that normally Seoul are the type of team that do super well in playoffs or, really important matches, knockout matches. Seoul have this time done quite well in the regular season. And now in this match, the first actual knockout match, they're down 0-2. They need a reverse sweep. They're still not going to be Jimmu, so Chengdu Hunters happy to just run Leave and Jimmy the entire time, which means there's still that opportunity where, let's say we go to another map 4, map 5 here. Jimmu can always pull out the Farah. And Seoul have to still deal with that eventually. That's still a win condition for Chengdu that needs to be addressed. Currently, the way Jimmy, Leave, and the rest of them are performing, and we've moved away from that initial team roster brought into the table for the first map of Busan, and this is Chengdu playing their standard starting lineup, and I mean, this is how Chengdu have gotten all their success so far this season.
Yep, well, first in the defense here. Yet again, our Seoul Dynasty. Prophet playing around this flank on the right side. Everybody steers away from him. They look to collapse it onto Tuyu. They take him quite low. They're looking for it with Prophet. With that kill into Elsa, he has hit 5,000 final blows, so congratulations to him. But for the rest of the Seoul Dynasty, this is a waking nightmare. 2 kills coming through in the back of the Dynamite as both supports do fall. Tuyu quite low. Rez comes out from Nisha, putting Monk back into the fight. Seems like they may stop them for now. It's too many casualties to aggress forward, but he was looking very scary for a moment there for Seoul.
Absolutely, and you need to see those kills come on through, and the secondary kill as well, just to make sure that Chengdu can continue the fight. So I guess 5,001 frags. Shaq can probably keep counting up. That's 5,002 now. Will stop Chengdu from doing much more. I don't think there's a res available. Nisha could go for it, but it's quite dangerous. And he's dead.
5,003. Good little melee hit, cutting around the corner. Prophet looking like he's starting to play a bit angry. That's when you have to be fearful if you're cheering for the Chengdu Hunters. Yep, got another one. Gets another one. Got another one. I can speak English. It's only my native language.
At this point, I think I'm gonna stop counting, but I'm sure by the time we get to the end of the match, chat will let us know exactly what Prophet is on, because frags are starting to come through. A minute 30 gone now, so not bad. One tick has been taken by Chengdu Hunters, so at least the uptick on the offense is not all lost. They don't really have any ultimates to play with. Creative is still reasonably far away from the Nano. Grab's going to come in pretty soon as well. Prophet has this pulse, so the ability to get more frags from Prophet is certainly online.
Playing it out a little bit slower. So just that first tick. Waiting for Chengdu to get over onto the point. Prophet dives into the back into the call that Monk was very low. Pulse bomb out. Prophet has 3 more to the counter. His Leave and Jimmy both get absolutely blown to smithereens. Sleep Dart now out onto Elsa. Granted, with this kind of composition, you don't have a Reinhardt. You have very limited ways to try and delay a Baby Diva. So Elsa will be able to hop off the side of the map, but it's still time bought.
A very menacingly missed whip shot from Animo as well, just to put the fear into Elsa on the respawn. At the stage as well, maybe I spoke too soon about Seoul kind of lacking in this series, plus Prophet is finally woken up. Minute 30 left to play for still that same one tick that we saw earlier. Nano definitely coming online soon. That grab still yet to be played. Elsa's going to try and eat it one more time. I think 2U might still get some PTSD from that. Mines come in, and finally the dive from Chengdu.
Yeah, looking to clear those out. So you playing around the corner. Only a third energy. His gesture just juggling Elsa. Fitz in the meantime finds Monk. Now Misha gone. No supports available. They do desperately want that D-Mech, and they have it. Elsa just going off the side of the map yet again. It's going to have to be another reset with some continued staggers coming through as Prophet tries to chase down Gaga. Would have been able to finish him if he could have gotten line of sight, but doesn't manage to have it. Grab's still online here, as well as Rally and Nano, so things looking pretty good overall for Seoul Dynasty. This would be a huge bounce back for them if they can get this full hold on Blizzard World.
If Chengdu actually get this eat on the grab, that would be massive, but failing that as well, they do have the Transcendence available from Monk. Finally seeing a decent ultimate bank online for Chengdu. It's about 5 ultimates, the most they've had for some time now. It's pretty much the last fight, so if there's any time to get 5 ultimates, now would be it. They need to spend quite a few of these this time.
Pulse into the middle, not going to find anything there for Lee. Prophet still holding on to one of his own. Ticking up on the point right now is the Bionade. Flips on the Jimmy, gets the finishing blow. Elsa knocked out of the mech, has the self-destruct, pops it on the point. Prophet ducks behind a pillar for a moment. Still has the pulse, he's waiting for his opportunity. There's going to be the grab. Do they just look for the big bang combo? He'll invest it now. Bob, however, is going to be the thing claiming the kills here for the side of the Seoul Dynasty as Elsa does fall, and it seems like they have done it. 77% even is as good as it's going to get for Chengdu Hunters, who now need to pull off a fuller hold if they want to win this with a 3-0. Otherwise, it's looking like Seoul Dynasty are going to be able to keep this series going.
It's like we just reversed places from what we saw on Hanamura, by the way. You look towards that B offense from Seoul, was a bit of nothing. Pretty big defense from the Chengdu side. You reversed it entirely now in Blizzard World. And it's almost the exact same thing where Chengdu smacking their heads against a brick wall here. Usually it'd be Chengdu maybe finding an opening pick somewhere. Jimmy has had some decent success here. This time around, Jimmy finds not a lot. His damage is fairly low. Fitz is once more blowing everyone out of the water in terms of damage, even though Prophet got a lot of the final blows there, and we saw the Pulse Bomb kills. It's Fitz doing most of the initial damage that then gets confirmed on the further end. We didn't even see the grab come out till quite a bit later, so it's not even like Seoul Dynasty popped in a grab and it just ended everything. Monk had to use Transcendence quite early in that last fight, didn't even end up saving Elsa's mech anyway, and there's a lot of pressure coming through from Seoul Dynasty in terms of the actual damage threat that they didn't even need the grab to finish things off. The grab kind of came out celebratory because by that stage, Seoul pretty much won the fight. Chengdu were out of time. 2 ticks has been found, so the possibility of committing a fuller hold here is definitely on the cards, 77%, but it needs to be like a perfect defense from Chengdu Hunters. It needs to be pretty much what we saw in Hanamura B.
All right, well, on the attack, Prophet just going to be TPing everybody forward. Fitz, in all likelihood, scouting again with a Sombra.
No, I think he could stay. If you can stay on
it.
the Sombra, you only need 1 fight win here. That's the thing, right? If you have a 1 fight win from Fitz, 1 EMP to close the door onto Chengdu, that's it. You don't need a scale to be here. So scouting would be good, but honestly, if they want to go Sombra, it's pretty decent as well.
Yeah, he's going to stay in with it. I mean, a hack onto either the Orisa or the ball, either way, it's an immense amount of value that they can gain. Pushing forward, Jester taking a ton of damage, still commits in for the jump. Fitz is in the back line. They do manage to find Monk, but Jester does get exchanged. Res available here from Nisha if he can stay alive, but he cannot do so. Prophet finishing him off, and Amo does get traded out. Leaf is still in the mix of things, but Elsa hacked, finished off. Pile Driver is there, but Gaga instantly gets bionated. Prophet kills off Leave, and yeah, the Seoul Dynasty explode onto the point. 1 dive, and it's all over. The cap comes through. He's just swapping to the Lucio, can't get there in time, and it's a very swift win on Blizzard World. Seoul Dynasty, they will not go out with a 0-3 record. They put 1 on the board, 1 more to go, and we're tied up.
That was like the most decisive Blizzard World ever. What is going on here? Because like, we just saw Hanamura where Seoul looked lost. They looked like their decision-making wasn't good. Nothing was working for them. Chengdu are just indomitable. Lee was popping off. But now we go to Blizzard World and it's an entire turnaround. I mean, you remove the HUD away, you think that Chengdu just 3-0'd here, but no, it's Seoul. It's Prophet coming up big, Lip doing the most damage, and 1 dive, 1 win. There wasn't even an EMP there. We talked about maybe 1 EMP can just win you this entire map, but didn't even get there.
No, I mean that felt more akin to like classic Assault on Overwatch before we added the 1/3 rule. But that was absolutely brutal. It's been confirmed to me that Watchpoint Gibraltar is going to be our next upcoming map. That's going to be the selection of the Chengdu Hunters. We'll see if they can close it out there, or if the Seoul Dynasty can continue to push back and extend us into a 5-map series. Don't go anywhere, guys. We've got Escort coming up in just a bit.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Alrighty, and we are back. Seoul Dynasty able to fight back, stave off the Chengdu Hunters at least for another map. Their map pick of Blizzard World working wonders. There's not much to say about it. It ended in an instant. A full hold, only surrendering 77% on Chengdu's attack, and then they win it in one single team fight. It was very quick. If you blink and you would have missed it, but all you need to know is that we keep on going. We've got at least another map up here for you as we get ready to jump into Watchpoint Gibraltar for Escort. See if Chengdu can close it out on their own map pick, or if Seoul Dynasty can make this a 5-map series.
It's been a strange series so far, Seth. Just got to say that because, like, I don't even... Chengdu, what was going on there? Like, their entire attack was... you know, unfortunately a bit of a failure there, but then losing straight away in that first... Like, I would imagine that at least for Chengdu, defending for a bit longer, holding that 77%, at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter what percent. It could have been 99%, 99.9%. The fact is they got rolled over in one single attempt coming through from the Seoul Dynasty. Straight away fits on the Sombra setting up at the backline. I believe he killed Monk first. And after losing Monk, if Nisha dies, it's all done. There's not even a chance for a res. You trade Gesture, but that's the only trade you get. So Gesture's going to be, you know, kind of the martyr for the team, where the rest of Seoul can still roll you over, and they certainly do. And maybe we're getting some flashbacks to when Seoul played against Fusion, and Seoul had that incredibly good Blizzard World. But that's the thing, right? Because that's all I can really think about is like how can Seoul be this good at Blizzard World? And I remember they had that great Blizzard World versus Fusion. Now, they did actually lose that map versus Fusion, but the attack was so insanely good that it does make a lot of sense why they got it in one attempt versus Chengdu.
Yeah, it seems like Chengdu maybe didn't watch the tape. Don't play Zenyatta on point A defense versus Dynasty on Blizzard World, because they just all focus fire you. The Zenyatta's out of the fight, and then it just kind of crumbles from there. So it's the same thing. Very much deja vu. Monk looking a little bit like Alarm in that moment. But unfortunately for them, they don't get to turn it around in overtime rounds. They don't you know, get to walk away with a win on that map, which means that we continue onwards. So Chengdu Hunters, for the first time now in this series, do get their map pick. So Watchpoint Gibraltar is where we're going for Escort. And if Seoul Dynasty can win this, then Chengdu will have one final crack with a pick on control to try to close it out and punch their ticket into the May Melee tournament. Both teams very hungry for this. You know, they see the Fusion falling to the wayside. They do not want to experience the same fate. They want to keep on playing in the weeks to come. So let's see how this starts, as we will kick off with Seoul Dynasty first on the attack.
Ready for battle.
And I would normally look at this map and say it's a pretty good one for Chengdu, but when you start looking towards Seoul as well, they want to play dive. You want to have gesture over towards the Winston. Double bubble is going to be really good. Creative done well on the flex support role, whether that be Zen or Anna. So, I mean, it's hard to call because both teams kind of favor these types of comps. Both teams want to be playing this type of map. You've got Jimmy on Widow. Fit's going to be responding on Widow as well. So, you know, across this entire Watchpoint Gibraltar, both teams have almost kind of equal strengths in terms of what they want to be doing here. Gaga's another main tank that's been doing super well with Winston. So this Gaga versus Gesture, Winston versus Winston is going to be one to look out for.
All right, well, jumping into it now. Countdown hits 0. The doors have opened. Fitz wrapping around to this left side with the Widowmaker. They haven't spotted him yet, so they may be able to get a feeling that this is what he's playing for. And you see those sticky bombs coming in from Leaves, so it seems like he's got a good read on Fitz's positioning. Jump up, shot goes into the wall. Not quite where you want it to land, and just near miss there onto Monk. Just trying to line up these heads.
So now, obviously the biggest difference here is the fact that Leave does have a Echo available. So the first dive is going to come through from Gesture, Bayonet, and Elsa as well, but other than that, not much to write home about. Gaga's actually pretty deep as well.
Yeah, he's trying to keep Fitz occupied. Does take quite a bit of damage as Gesture came in to support. Just playing forward, trying to get the spot here for Jimmy so he can try to line up the shot. Does take that body tag. Does have to play back out of line of sight. Jump up into the bubble, and that's going to be Gaga punish. A great headshot from Fitz to open the fight. And says, good luck, Nisha. I dare you to come and get this res. It's not going to be allowed to happen. Grapple up top now. Fitz, if you wanted to go on a little bit of a flank, there is Monk over in the server room. Could try to line that up. They're going to be rotating up onto the high ground now, though, as the cart does round this first corner. Res comes in. Jimmy back into the fight for now. See if he gets shut down again, or if he can start to turn things.
90%.
Yeah. Yeah, take it
the
down
nano there. That's
the
really
nano.
rough
Now
as well.
Creative. He should be able to build this up for the extended fight. Shots in, Anamo, he's got the whip shot to follow up. Gaga will go down, traded out for Gesture, but this is a very one-sided affair at the moment here at the start. As Seoul Dynasty cruise their way into point A. Monk now is going to get cut off. The split spawn coming through. Profit capitalizing. 69 health and a little bit of a teabag. Meme Lord himself, Mr. 5K plus, and 4 minutes 44 on the time bank here for the Seoul Dynasty as they roll into the hangar.
Upsetting for the Chengdu side of things, where they nearly had that nano boost available, but you know, Monk dying at 90%. Did also see a brilliant Bayonet from Creative just a little bit early, catches Nisha and Leave, and also a sleep down onto Elsa when Gaga died. So just putting the pressure on a Chengdu, making sure their tank line isn't going to be applying too much counter pressure. Jimmy would love to get a kill towards Fitz.
Well, he won't have
Leave
to.
into the kill instead.
To the back. Beam comes down. He's going to get the duplicate here, but the sleep dart does come out from Creative. Anamo under pressure, going to pop the rally. They're still looking to turn this fight, even without Gesture in. It seems like so far it's going to be going pretty damn well. Elsa caught up, solo grab onto him. Pulse bomb doesn't have to be committed by Profit, just holds on to it for an extended little trade. As Leave tries to live up to his name, tries to get out of here. Profit tries to stop him, but he does manage to successfully retreat.
Gaga dies without using Primal either, so he doesn't want to stay into that fight, waiting for the full reset to come on through. That's going to give Seoul a lot of space to work with. Fitz would really want to get some high ground control as well. Nano's been popped over.
Leave getting tagged up again. Monk gone. Elsa finishing himself off with a right click. Profit with the pulse bomb takes down Gaga. There's no front line. The healers cut in half. Now cut completely out of the picture as Nisha falls. And this is just a steamrolling here from the side of the Seoul Dynasty thus far on the attack. Nearly 5 minutes for this final stretch of Watchpoint Gibraltar. Granted, ultimate's not that great. There is going to be a defensive grab available for Elsa in just a moment, and only the primal here from Gesture, but so far it is looking phenomenal for Seoul.
Stagger onto Monk there as well, and Gaga still hasn't used that Primal. Like I said, when we go back towards that moment where Gaga had the opportunity to Primal, I thought maybe that would be a good time, because Chengdu need to have some tempo control. They're being completely rolled over by Seoul, where Seoul are dictating every single fight. Seoul are constantly getting those first picks. Seoul are diving in first. Now Gaga goes in. He's going to have the Primal soon, I feel. Grab's coming online. Nice kill to Profit.
Got DPS duo taken away there. He also does find Fitz. Jimmy in an awkward spot. They get the wake up, but Chester will get the finish on him. He's going to pop this Primal.
It's
The
traded.
turn on the fight starts to come through. 2U does get rid of Leave, so DPS duos traded out. Chester still quite healthy, but has to respect potentially getting slept, getting anti. Does decide to pull back with the rest of the team, but the cart continues to inch forward, getting under the walkway now. As we see Gaga go deep into the back line. Primal Rage going to get popped by him. Sleep comes in, but Gesture wakes him up. That could end up being a little bit costly, but with him at half HP, maybe they can get the turnaround.
Monk dead.
Monk is eliminated.
No.
Now going to be gone. Leave finds Fitz. Grab available here from 2U, but he just disappears in an instant. Leave absolutely destroys him. I think finally they will be able to grab some form of cart control here as Prophet's Pulse Bomb is not going to connect. Good setup with those sticky bombs. Finds Prophet as he uses the recall. And Creative will just die. So there we go. They finally stopped
Really important that Gargo actually managed, Gargo and Elsa use those ults there. Monk dying, okay, that's cool, but we never really got to see the opportunity for 2U to put down that grab either. So important slowdown coming through from Chengdu versus Seoul. 3 minutes still remaining is quite a lot to work with. You can start to see where the win conditions can still be available for Seoul. They'll need to receive the pressure from the Nano. So Nano coming through from Monk on towards Gaga. Seoul don't need to use any ultimates there. They even get the kill towards Jimmy. There's no mercy for the rare, so Nisha's playing the Brig, and now we're just going straight in.
Yeah, Nano's out, trying to keep Elsa alive. The anti-nade comes in on the back end of that, but it's not going to lead to the kill. So Grab not finding too much. Gaga, in the meantime, in the back, however, will fall. Still going to be 30-some-odd% away from that Primal Rage. Grab out from Leave. Loses the duplicate, throws in some sticky bombs to try to get some extra cleave damage coming through, but also not going to be leading to any kills. Jester, however, in the back line will get collapsed upon, will get finished off. 2 minutes, 20 seconds now on the clock. Seoul Dynasty going to have to retreat as these kills continue to come through. It's good staggers here from the side of the Chengdu Hunters to get this final blow into Creative.
Good turnaround as well. I mean, look at Leave. He's nearly got another duplicate. He just ulted. Almost got that kill into Gesture. That would have really slowed things down. And, 75% after just using the dupe earlier. Getting the second grab. Now the first grab for Elsa. When I say first grab, I'm talking about from the actual Zari player itself. Now we are looking towards Chengdu having a decent bank of ultimates to play with, and I thought maybe Seoul would be patient on that last one, but then Fitz gets the opening kill to Jimmy, and obviously if you have a 6v5, you got to use it. This time it's Jimmy getting the opening frag, so Seoul slow down just a minute, waiting for Prophet to respawn, look towards a nano play, and go from there. They'll need to find probably a stick with his pulse bomb as well. This doesn't look like a very winnable fight for Seoul, so unless they get a big player advantage, they're going to have to cop this on because Elsa with the grab, there's nano up, there's so much available from Chengdu.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of just, at this point, have to hope that he somehow whiffs it, but we know that he's very unlikely to have that happen. Infrasight for Infrasight going to be exchanged here. Those wonders, however, for Jimmy as he can now track the location of Prophet, sees him slinking around that left side flank. Dives into the back, he takes a short hop grapple over. Meanwhile, back over towards the cart. Jester finds Monk. 2U going to be traded out as Bionade finds a kill, but Jester follows up for a second one now. No supports in the fight, but obviously faster runbacks here, so still a good amount of staying power available for the side of the Chengdu Hunters. Primal Range, pop up. Jimmy grapples out away from the Winston, still manages to line up a shot on a Creative's head. Prophet finally does get a punish here, eliminating that enemy Widowmaker. Jester desperately tries to get rid of Leave, does so, with 30 HP, just has to kind of sit still in the bubble and hope to God that he get some healing here rather quickly. They try to top him up, a little bit of rally armor coming through on the back end there from Anamo. Keeps Jester in the fight for a little bit longer, but Gaga with the Primal Rage of his own goes in, finds Fitz, now 2U going to be gone. Jester still low, eating up these health packs here from Anamo as they desperately try to get him back into the fight, but ults have been exhausted. 2U, 9% away. It's going to be a big bang combo basically to try to turn the tide of this push. Otherwise, Chengdu Hunters, it looks like they will be able to successfully stop Dynasty from finishing on Gibraltar.
10 seconds left to go there, and Gargo is pretty touch and go because Gargo originally dies, doesn't use the primal, respawns in primals, it ends up being enough. And a boost as well coming through eventually from Monk. A lot of them actually died. They do get the touch. That was Prophet just barely making their way in. Jester's got the bubble now. 2U has to land this grab. Like you said, grab into pulse is a win condition for Seoul, and they have to land it perfectly.
And one of the bubbles going to be used. Elsa going to be grabbed. They go in. They throw down the bubble, but he self-bubbles himself. Absorbs the damage. Jimmy, in the meantime, manages to find Fitz. Goes out onto the tanks. The grab comes through on the corner, trying to zone them off this cart. Elsa nets himself 3 kills. Prophet, the last one that falls. A team kill will come through. And the Chengdu Hunters do successfully stop this push from the side of the Seoul Dynasty, who now need just as strong, if not a stronger defense to win this map and take us into Game 5.
There's a couple of good moments there from Seoul. I mean, they start the fight well. They have a couple of opening frags sometimes. They'll have the ultimate advantage as well as various points, but it's coming down to the tenacity of Chengdu Hunters, staying alive, playing the respawns, and there's even some weird ult rotation from Chengdu, as was said, where, you know, here it is, like Gaga just getting melted in one shot. To be fair, maybe he didn't get the opportunity to go for the nano, but okay, that was a great shot from Jimmy.
That is disgusting.
Another really small thing there as well is when Monk and Nisha both died, leave actually duplicates over towards the Brigida to supplement the healing, because they didn't actually have any healers alive, so just small things like that. Jimmy hitting a crazy headshot. These kind of things for Chengdu, keeping them alive on that defense, despite things looking pretty poor.
Yeah. Really, really great. But, oh, man, I got to shout out that headshot again. I mean, if we had collateral in this game, that looked like it... I mean, if he had hit Prophet, it looked like he was going to. That could have been a 2-for-1 special. But slightly off on the lineup. But either way, a disgusting shot for him.
Everyone's wincing at the thought of, you know, Widowmaker
collateral in this game.
Like, please, no, don't introduce that. Widow doesn't need more, like, at this stage of the game.
Another thing for the experimental mode, perhaps. We'll find out. But now on the defense, Seoul Dynasty, let's see what they can get done. Jimmy, for now, just rolling out recon arrow. Just
get a hook.
Trying to check, see if there's anybody there. He's not going to connect. Swap us out.
So, pretty standard stuff, and again, it's going to be Chengdu looking towards Leaf on towards Echo. That's a little bit more, I don't know if that's substandard, but it's not what you'd expect. It's connecting the dive pick, and they get enough damage in for the actual kill, just pushing Seoul off the high ground as they take away position.
And Nano's traded out on either side. Nobody getting antied. Know that the majority of the team is contained right now over inside the server room. Gesture taking a nap somewhere, but without Jimmy having line of sight on him, getting an execution onto the Winston is going to prove to be nigh impossible.
So the important thing here is to see Chengdu prioritize card pushing, so they're going to get a lot of free push, they're going to get to the high ground, and eventually they'll stop Gaga, and here it is, Prophet comes to contest, and now the fight goes back over towards the high ground, where Gesture gets punished, and now the 6v5.
Yeah, really big punish, no way to bring him back into the fight. Of course, the Chengdu Hunters who have the mercy, not the Seoul Dynasty. Prophet forced down to the cubby there in the car wash, grabs that mega pack. The cart free rolling here at the moment. They take the fight over to the Dynasty. Beam coming through to you. Melted down. Yeah, huge amount of damage there between him and Elsa. They get that execution. Gesture rejoins, jumps away, but the cart starting to inch back forward yet again. Coach Gun blasts Leaf back for just a moment, but Jimmy up close and personal with Prophet, gets a shot onto him, finishes him off with a melee hit, and that's going to be the supports now gone as well. This is going to be a very swift A-take from the side of the Chengdu Hunters, kind of matching the pace as best as possible here that we saw established by the Dynasty.
I mean, this is going to be a momentum swing hardcore for the Chengdu Hunters. You have Fitz changing heroes here as well. Deleting the ult charge. Animo is being caught on towards the bad spawn. That's going to be a freebie. Leave is now on 10,000 damage. First player to reach 10,000 damage on this map. Bit of replay on that opening fight as well, just to see how that initial kill coming through was. Okay, just tagging Prophet, punching him in the face. Why not? Now as we head through the rest
exactly
of the
way
hangar
that
phase,
I said it did.
I mean, yeah, it's as we head through the hangar phase, it's still ultimates big time online for Chengdu, where they have grab, and there's not much to write home about on the side of Seoul.
Yeah, I mean, to you, just going to have to try to come up with some kind of clutch eat. Gesture now going to be taking a nap, riding out the rest of that primal range. Really good sleep. It's Jimmy rolling with the infra sight. Fitz hounded down. He finds the kill. Now goes in with the duplicate. Looks to build up a pulse bomb. He's got it. Eat will be there for 2U. Denies that one away. But the grab in the meantime hasn't even had to be used. Elsa still holds on to that as the cart continues to move forward over towards B. Prophet's pulse bomb not going to be finding too much.
Leave.
Yep, finds 2 of them. Fitz can only get Monk. Good as he gets right now, and that's just going to be counteracted by the res. So there you go. 5 minutes on this defense for the Seoul Dynasty. Tournament life on the line. Let's see if they can pull it off right now. Chasing forward are the Chengdu Hunters. They know the time is on their side, and they know that if they can find a single extra kill here, that's going to open up an immense amount of distance for them.
Nano's coming online for creative. This is really important. Double support ultimates for the Seoul Dynasty. They need to reset and slow down Chengdu because they're on a rampage right now. The grab is still online. There's not great defenses versus the grab. You're hoping that Elsa only solo grabs somebody like Gesture, and then you pop the Nano into Gesture and he's fine. But knowing Elsa, he's going to be looking for a big one. Elsa has been tagged down quite low though. And there's no good combo for the grab, so it needs to be, you know, grab into Defiant into lead dropping down stickies.
Can always go for a primal cleave, perhaps. Grab does come out. Gesture, anti, they're trying to keep him alive. Nano used. He actually does manage to survive with a sliver of HP. The rally has to be committed to the fight as well. In the meantime, though, Gaga diving into the back, finds Fitz. They get the kill before the sleep comes in. Namo now bioed. Gesture gone. Creative falling lower and lower. Prophet in the back. Leaf chasing in. Throws down that self-destruct. Goes in for the remake yet again. You have the Infraside rolling now for Fitz, but he desperately needs to come up with some clutch kills. The cart is so very close to the finish line. Leaf back up into the sky. Fitz finds one. A great headshot from him. Can they deny the res? Nisha's right on top. Does manage to put him back into the mix. He'll jump away. Now Fitz has to dodge and weave around these shots, but lines up for the hit there on the Jimmy as Gesture knocks him right into his crosshair.
Insane three-piece coming through from Fitz, maybe even a little bit more as well. Sleep dart kill to Gaga, slowing down Chengdu, and finally we have this reset. The final hour, I mean, yeah, we saw that, I think, a while back when Fusion were playing against, you know, I think Seoul on this map. No, Fusion versus Valiant there, where Silver 3 got knocked off the map via alarm sleep dart kill, but that match aside, 3 minutes 15 left to go. Look at the payload positioning as well. Chengdu nearly got it done, so really, when talking about Seoul kind of getting this defense started in the final hour, it really was.
Huge. I mean, it's a good kill. Nisha now out of the fight. That slows them up. And I'll let them try to wait through this infrasight that Jimmy has up. Prophet, though, needs to get back in there, start building up for another pulse bomb. And it's still 2 minutes and 50 seconds left to go on the clock.
It's the Nano from Creative. This is how they open things up. As soon as you see Chengdu maybe starting to overstep, and this will be it. Nano needs to come out ASAP. Creative on towards Gesture. Here it is. He counter dives.
Gaga's in the back. He's just keeping Fitz completely busy at the moment. Yeah, now Prophet going to be gone. Gesture taken out by the sticky bombs to you. Still taking considerable amounts of damage, and Gaga will finish him off with a stomp. They get the hits through. Fitz falling low. Anamo is dead. There's nobody that can contest this. Prophet tries to get back in, but it's to no avail. A valiant effort at the end there from the Seoul Dynasty, but it's too much time for them to try and chew up the Chengdu Hunters. They push to victory. They get the win here on a Watch Point Gibraltar and take down the Seoul Dynasty.
I gotta give this one to Lee for sure. Just looking at stats-wise, that last push coming through. When I say last push, I'm talking about the entire attacking phase from Chengdu. So the last phase, the last round of gameplay, Leave coming through big time, 14,000 damage on this one player. And he reached that 10k mark, like on when we got towards B. Obviously, that's over the course of the entire map, but he was the first player to reach 10k damage. Not a single player from Seoul reached 10k damage, and Leave ends up with 14,000. So that Echo play was so insane in terms of the carry power that Leave had over the course of the entire A, then B attack as well. You had Fitz eventually trying to shut him down. I mean, Fitz on that Widowmaker definitely tried hard. Look, if Seoul were able to turn this around, I'm sure Fitz would have been there, because you look towards, you know, Hanamura, Fitz was doing a ton of damage. You look towards Blizzard World, that was the one good performance from Seoul. And Gibraltar was going to be close from both teams, and I think it was. I think it was a reasonably close showing, but at the end of the day, that attack was so brilliant from Chengdu, especially coming through from the damage output, the carry power from Leaf's Echo. It just did too much. It was far too much for Seoul to take the brunt of.
Yeah, I mean, brutal. Jimmy as well. Got to give shout out to him, because he played a wonderful Widowmaker. I mean, Fitz getting the better of him a few times, but Jimmy was coming up with some really critical kills, finishing off Prophet there at the end, getting him to help open up that push onto point A. I mean, the moment that Gesture was getting nano boosted, that headshot would come through. It would chunk him down, you know, a third of his HP and make it that much more easy to deal with, because, you know, even if you got that nano boost rolling, as soon as you hit about half HP, you need to dip out of there. That's a lot of time that you're losing on building up towards those primal rages and whatnot, and, you know, you're not able to posture forward, create space for your teammates. So, you know, good stuff there from Jimmy to really help enable the team and create a lot of room for those supports to work with. But he is not our player of the match. I don't think it's going to come as too much of a shock. Our player of the match is going to be Leave yet again, raking in another accolade for himself. It's just another wonderful performance the whole way throughout for him.
You look at the Tracer gameplay at the start as well, you know, the multi-frags, and there was that one with the Flux drop down 2 for the double. And, you know, from here on outwards, and some of these weren't even because of the Flux, it was just a great stick. That could have been a double there as well. It wasn't for the trance coming on through. So across multiple different picks that Lee was able to show, and he didn't really show it today in this match. It was pretty much just the Echo and the Tracer, but this guy's also the McCree player. He's on, he can play the Genji as well. He actually pops in the Widowmaker, if it wasn't for the fact that Jimmy plays. So I think Leave across the board, and I remember saying this in the series as well, it's like one of the most underrated top DPSs, and I can comfortably say that he is one of the top DPSs in the Overwatch League, especially in the APAC region, especially now that Chengdu have made their way forward into the May Melee as probably maybe the most unlikely team from the preseason. No one would really have thought that, yeah, Chengdu are top 2 in APAC, but here it is. That's the reality we live in. Welcome to the Chengdu zone, as has been said, and this is it. This is what Chengdu really look like. This is Chengdu at their full power, and even when we saw Chengdu in that first map play their, 3 other bench players that don't normally get game time, they still took Busan. And then we moved over towards the other maps with Leave, especially on the Echo. I mean, we're looking towards the Tracer stats here, where, he got an insane amount of damage done, obviously playing Tracer across the entire series, but just on that one map of Gibraltar, he hit 14k damage on the Echo alone. So, I mean, just the insane damage output.
Yeah, just nasty stats here across the board from Leave. I mean, 9 pulse bomb kills, some of those multiple kills coming through, 5 of those being attached, 70 eliminations. I mean, if he could put up these numbers as Tracer every single game, it won't be too surprising if we see Leave joining Carpe and Profit in the annals of Overwatch League history there with his records, because
5K club?
Just incredible numbers to be putting up. Yeah, part of the 5K club. But yeah, and again, I mean, that's a bittersweet moment for Profit. So does manage to pick up, those 5K final blows, but it's on the back of a series loss, means that he's not going to be competing against NA as they go over to Hawaii, not going to be in the May Melee. Now just have to kind of reset and get prepared for June. So it's, a very bittersweet moment, I think, for the Seoul Dynasty house right now.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of even joked about it, like, if Profit will get this 5K consolation prize, but the prize they're really looking for is the opportunity to go to the May Melee and being in the top 2, right? And barely missing out here. When we looked at this matchup, we had Fusion versus Shanghai and then Chengdu versus Seoul. This was the one I was concerned about because Chengdu are on such a high and people are still kind of doubting and saying maybe Chengdu got lucky, maybe they're still not quite there, maybe Seoul's a more consistent team. We'll see. But I think Chengdu are really starting to change people's minds, starting to change the storyline of where Chengdu really is in people's minds of how strong this team really can be. So solidifying themselves up against Seoul, who had a really honestly pretty good regular season. That was one of the bigger criticisms of Seoul in previous seasons. So they got that part sorted, but the playoffs Profit, the playoff Seoul part still needs to kind of come back and show their full force, because that would have been the team that maybe carries Seoul through to the May Melee, or let's hope for a future tournament then.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see. But for now, we can go ahead and refocus back in around the Chengdu Hunters, as it is time for our game break presented by Cheese It Grooves. And we go straight into our crunch time here and just kind of talk about overall the Chengdu Hunters throughout this series, because, again, they showed us something incredibly different off the bat, and it was still played to a T.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see a decent amount of Elsa here probably as well. That he got, the 2 eats that he got on Busan versus Chuyu and also Profit, I believe. Faraway 1987 got a number of opening picks on towards his end. So what's really great about Chengdu right now is just their versatility as a team, because a lot of teams that do run a lot of players, I'm looking at Hangzhou particularly, who are kind of struggling to find out who their starting 6 were, and normally when you have a big roster, you still really do just have that kind of starting 6, right? You're not really moving around too many roster swaps. Perhaps in the DPS role, you've got to be doing a couple more because of specialists. But to have a team like Chengdu come through, have kind of their backups come in, especially Among, who's been a fan favorite, where people are asking, like, where's Among? What's he going to be up to? That's really insane. And then, obviously, when they come back onto their proper roster, their normal one that they do play, this is the Chengdu now that is starting to put up the damage. We didn't even get to see Jinmu because Jinmu wasn't required today. I guess there weren't any good fire maps, but we didn't even get to answer the question of would Seoul have been able to deal with the fire, because that's always something you have to kind of check off, and now the NA teams need to answer that question, right? Because if you see Jinmu, you're going to do something about it. But even without Jinmu, I mean, you mentioned this, Seth, but Jimmy had a great game. Jimmy across the board was hitting some big shots.
Yeah, I mean, literally everybody that performed here for the Chengdu Hunters on the whole, I think everybody had their moments. Some people, a little bit more quiet than others, I suppose. But even with the support swaps in the first map, and then everybody else coming in, it was just wonderful. Some great Zenyatta play from Monk, as well as Ana play consistently shutting down Jester whenever he was going in with those nano boosts, with the Primal Rages, if not both. Everybody had their time in the limelight, but it's just a very good look for the Chengdu Hunters. Consistency, something that has been lacking from this roster in their, now 3-year run in the Overwatch League. They finally find it here in the 4th season, and they're looking scarier than ever. And I think that, whichever teams are going to be qualifying forward, moving into the May Melee here from the North American side, whoever they're going to get matched up against, they have to really be concerned because there is a lot of variables to prepare for when you're going up against Chengdu.
And I don't even know if we've seen, kind of the final form of Chengdu. We don't even know where they're going to place in terms of
do they have
how
a final
far
form?
Can they go. How high can they go? I don't know because they've shown a lot of different forms. I mean, we haven't even played through their entire roster yet. We might not have to, but at this stage, I'm just looking towards the fact that old Chengdu was kind of beloved and also memed for the fact that they were kind of like this ball one-trick team, and now they play everything. They're still elite tier at that ball, but because they can do everything else now, they can join the rest of the top tier Overwatch League teams, go towards the May Melee, and who knew they were going to be top 4 in Overwatch League, right? That's the reality we live in now. Chengdu have just launched themselves to that elite tier status.
I'll tell you who knew. Hexagrams. He's the one who knew. He also writes the Apex.
That's true.
So
he actually did.
Of course, he was in the know about that one. But I think, widely for just about everybody else, they were a big question mark coming into the season. But they have proven their consistency. They've proven that they deserve to be in that May Melee tournament, representing the APAC region alongside the Shanghai Dragons. Now it all just comes down to who they're going to square up against and whether or not the APAC side of things is going to be taking home the trophy. I think that they will, but we'll find out. That's for another week. But that does it for us here tonight. We're going to have a decently long little break from our nice little late-night APAC shows, obviously, as we do have the May Melee event coming up quite shortly. There's still NA to be watched later on this evening, so make sure you guys stay up or take a nap before that so you can catch those games. But for myself, Avril, and the late-night APAC crew, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. So much flavor, it's a mind crunch.